We're going to be talking about guillotine counters in this video, all right? So the guillotine counter, the most basic one, of course, is the early defense that we showed in a previous video. You know, bringing up the shoulders, dropping the hips, getting the spine, dragging up straight through. Well, don't lose track of that. That's a really important and easy one. So if I'm getting pulled down, for example, into this, the best thing I can do is start posturing up and driving my head into the guy's chin and starting to bring up my hands to create better opportunities. Right? I want to get him in a weak position as best that I can, and him lifting up like this is a weaker position. Now sometimes you don't have that luxury. Maybe you ended up deeper, or you lost space, you stumbled, you slipped, something else happened, and now I'm in that deeper position and the guillotine's coming off. Good. So the thing about it is I wasn't able to get my hands in there. So my shoulders need to come up and I need to be attacking from the outside, right? And a lot of times you can't reach both hands. I often like to go one hand and one on my own to start pulling down. This tends to be stronger. If you can get two hands in there, fine, get two hands in there. But if you can only get one, reinforce your hand, almost like you do a single hand pull-up with reinforcement, right? So I'm putting my weight on it, boom, here, bringing up my shoulders. And now all of a sudden, I can start ragdolling and keeping posture as I get out, right? So that's another variation that you can use. Now, another counter to the guillotine that you may need to use is going out the back. And this happens when there's a gap here, or the guy pulls you on the side, or you can create your positioning in such a way to drive out through that. So it might be through a hand fight type combination of things where I'm in here, right? And I can get here and I can start to duck out there. Again, look at that posture, tail to tip. And I'm driving with my shoulder up, and maybe I can take his back. Sometimes there's a lot of fight in there. So one piece of advice to give you is you might get caught halfway and the guy's trying to adjust. So I might grab his leg and I might grab his hips and start working in steadily through those positions until I take his back on my own, or moving in for other, growing grabs or anything like that. All right, so that's another way that you can work that. What's most important is that you're using your entire structure to defend. That I'm not trying to lift up at the neck or have it twisted, because if I've got a twisted neck or I've got a bent neck, both of those prevent structural weakness. They present, rather, structural weakness. And you're unlikely to get out, you're more likely to get injured. So watch out for that when you're working your counters, all right? Now, a Hail Mary, and I call that because this is a super leg counter. It's not the highest percentage, but it may be a last-ditch resort that's available to you, that's a surprise when the guy's trying to do a standing guillotine. So what that looks like is he's got a lot of pressure, he's blocking my head, he's in a good position, and what I do is I drop my hips this way into a lunge and then press back up and explode. So what I did is I didn't fight the pressure on my head. I stepped back in order to get that posture, and now I explode back up through him, looking to drive my head straight through his chin. Right, and come up and break his base. That's a really difficult one to prevent. A lot of times what a guy will try to do, if he's a smart grappler, he's a good wrestler, or he's just really strong and agile and used to that pressure fight, is he might try to flop on top of you. So be ready to roll out, have good structure as you're doing it, meaning that if I've got weight on me and he drops here, right, I don't want to be in a weak position. I want to be able to drive through them and get out or roll out, right, as needed. I might take a ground position momentarily and then do a tactical stand-up. Again, not ideal, but maybe the only thing that separates the difference between, getting out of that situation safely and being unconscious where now you can't defend yourself, right? So that's a really late counter that you might choose to try. It's tough, but it's hard for this guy to adapt. Sometimes, if he sprawls as you do that and you go face down, just be ready to plant your hands to break your fall so you don't slam your face into the ground. And then again, roll out, start to square up. We can show you that more in our ground defense videos. Good luck, you guys.